The rain always sounded different on the east side of Blackthorn Manor, a softer tapping, like timid fingers knocking on a door they feared would never be opened. It was on that side of the house, in a narrow, cold room with peeling wallpaper, that Evelyn Ashdown had been raised. Not as a daughter. Not even as a responsibility. But as a burden. Her stepmother, Lady Marietta Ashdown, had a talent for cruelty spoken in the sweetest tones, the kind that cut deeper than any physical blow. She never struck Evelyn, she never had to. Her words did the work, carving away at the girl's confidence piece by fragile piece. "You are plain," she would say, barely lifting her eyes from her cup of tea. "Plain and timid and entirely unremarkable. Society would chew you alive. Best you stay out of sight, child. Child. Not daughter. Never daughter." Marietta's two daughters, Clara and Georgina, glowed with silks and jewels, their lives polished with the warmth Evelyn had never been offered. The sisters accepted their mother's view as truth: Evelyn was nothing but a shadow in their beautiful, sunlit world. And Evelyn, raised on half meals and hollow praise, learned to believe it. Yet she had something they did not, a gentle heart, a mind that devoured every book she managed to steal from the library late at night, and an instinctive grace that could not be taught. But in that household, none of it mattered. Not until the Duke of Harland entered her life. England in the late summer was a marvel: rolling green hills, pale golden sunlight, and the endless hum of gossip that fluttered through parlors and drawing rooms like restless birds. And in every whisper, one name dominated. Alexander Hawthorne, the Duke of Harland. He was everything the ton worshipped. Handsome in a way that made women blush behind their fans. Enigmatic in a way that sent rumors spiraling. And wealthy, disastrously, dangerously wealthy. He had returned from the continent after 3 years abroad, his reputation somehow even more untouchable than before. And now, he was hosting the grandest event of the season, the Harland Summer Gala. Lady Marietta received an invitation, of course. Her ambition would not allow her to decline. It was the perfect opportunity to parade her daughters before the Duke. One of them was destined, in her mind, to become his bride. Evelyn was not meant to attend. "You will embarrass us," Marietta declared. "Your dress is outdated, your posture clumsy, and your conversation dreadfully dull. Stay home." Evelyn nodded, accustomed to obedience. But her late father's loyal old housekeeper, Mrs. Halberry, had other plans. No girl should be hidden away, the woman said as she hemmed an old lavender gown, one that had belonged to Evelyn's mother. Not when she carries her mother's kindness and her father's spirit. The dress was simple. Worn. But beautiful in the way moonlight is beautiful, softly, quietly, without demanding admiration. "You will go," Mrs. Halberry insisted, hands trembling with devotion. "Even if you stand in a corner all night, you deserve one evening where the world sees you." Evelyn had never fought for anything before. But something inside her whispered, just this once. So she went. The gala shimmered with chandeliers and laughter, the air thick with perfume and ambition. Clara and Georgina swept immediately into the crowd, radiant in their new gowns, determined to capture the Duke's notice. Evelyn stepped in quietly, unnoticed. Yet the Duke noticed her. He was standing at the far end of the ballroom, surrounded by eager lords and fluttering ladies. But his eyes drifted, just once, toward the entrance. And in that moment, Evelyn Ashdown entered his world. She was not the most dazzling woman in the room. She did not glitter. She did not glow. And still, he stared. Not because she was beautiful, though she was, in a gentle, unassuming way, but because she looked entirely out of place. Like a wildflower accidentally dropped among roses. Her lavender dress hinted at faded elegance. Her posture carried both humility and a hint of quiet resilience. And her eyes were the kind a man could fall into without realizing he was drowning. Alexander's breath caught, surprising even himself. "Your Grace," a viscount asked. "Is something amiss?" "No," he murmured. "Nothing at all." He moved. Not toward Clara. Not toward Georgina. Toward her. Evelyn did not notice him at first, she was too busy trying not to trip as she slipped toward the corner of the room. The place she had always been taught she belonged. But then a shadow fell beside her. She turned. And stared straight into the deep grey eyes of the Duke of Harland. Her heart stopped. No one spoke to Evelyn at events. Men did not seek her out. They did not cross rooms for her. But the Duke had. "Good evening," he said, his voice smooth, warm. "I don't believe we've met." Evelyn swallowed. We haven't, Your Grace." "Then allow me to change that." He bowed slightly. "Alexander Hawthorne." Her pulse tripped. She curtsied, her voice small. "Evelyn Ashdown." Something flickered in his gaze, interest. Curiosity. Whatever it was, it shook her. "Miss Ashdown," he said, "would you honor me with a dance?" Her breath hitched. Clara, across the room, froze. Georgina's jaw dropped. Marietta's fan snapped in half. But Evelyn. Evelyn whispered. "Yes." And the world shifted. Evelyn had only danced alone in the attic before. Her steps had been timid. Soft. Invisible. But with the Duke's hand resting lightly against her back, something inside her unfurled. He guided her gently, as though he sensed her uncertainty. "You're trembling," he murmured. "I'm trying not to step on your feet," she whispered back. He chuckled, not mockingly, but with genuine warmth. "I assure you, I would consider it a privilege." Nobody had ever spoken to her like that. As they spun slowly across the floor, she felt eyes on her. The entire ballroom was watching. Clara trembling with rage. Georgina forcing a smile that looked more like a grimace. Marietta burning with indignation, her carefully laid plans cracking apart like porcelain. But Alexander saw none of them. He saw only the girl in lavender. "Forgive me," he said softly, "but I must ask, why have I never seen you before?" She hesitated. "I do not attend many gatherings." "By choice," he pressed gently. "No," a tiny pause. "Not by choice." His jaw tightened, not in anger at her, but at someone else. Someone he had yet to name. "You deserve to be seen," he said, voice low. "More than any woman in this room." Her breath softened, warmed, bloomed. But the moment the dance ended, Marietta swooped in, claws concealed beneath lace gloves. "Your Grace," she purred. "Do forgive the confusion, Evelyn is merely a distant relative. She is not, well, accustomed to such attention." Evelyn flinched. The Duke's eyes darkened with something dangerously close to fury. He turned to Marietta. "Madam," he said coldly, "I assure you, Miss Ashdown is exactly as she should be." His meaning was clear. Sharp. Unmistakable. "You are the one who is lacking." Marietta went pale. And Evelyn. Evelyn felt something she had never felt before. Worth. In the days that followed, the tongue twisted itself into knots. The Duke had danced with the wrong sister. The plain one. The quiet one. The nothing one. But to Alexander Hawthorne, she was not nothing. He called on Blackthorn Manor the next afternoon. Marietta tried to present Clara that he asked for Evelyn. Marietta attempted to insist Clara play the piano. He waited in silence until Evelyn appeared. Marietta nearly shoved Clara forward to speak. Alexander spoke directly to Evelyn, ignoring the others entirely. He saw the bruised confidence. The learned smallness. The shrinking habits of a girl told too often she didn't matter. On the fourth visit, when he caught her alone for a moment in the rose garden, he said softly. "You avoid meeting my eyes when you speak." "I'm sorry," she whispered. "You need not apologize." His voice gentled. "But why is that?" Her fingers twisted nervously around the folds of her skirt. "I am not used to being looked at." His heart clenched. "Then allow me," he murmured, stepping closer, "to become the first man who truly sees you." She looked up. And his expression, warm, steady, reverent, broke her. Not because he admired her beauty, but because he saw her soul. Marietta grew desperate. She locked away Evelyn's gown. Forbade her from leaving her room. Insisted the Duke was being polite, nothing more. "You will ruin everything," she hissed one night. "The Duke will not marry someone like you. Do not delude yourself." Tears stung Evelyn's eyes. "Why?" she whispered. "Why do you despise me so?" Marietta froze. Because Evelyn looked too much like her mother. Because Marietta hated being compared. Because her husband had loved his first wife in a way he had never loved her. Whatever the reason, Marietta spat. Because you were never meant to shine. Those words, meant to shatter her. Did something else entirely. They ignited her. When Alexander heard Evelyn had been barred from seeing him, he did not wait. He arrived at Blackthorn Manor unannounced, storms in his eyes. Marietta attempted to intercept him. "Your Grace, this is highly inappropriate." "Lady Ashdown," he cut sharply, "I am not here for you." He walked past her. Straight to the east wing. Straight to Evelyn's tiny, cold room. He opened the door, and stopped. Evelyn stood near the window, wiping silent tears with the sleeve of a dress far too thin for the chilly evening. His chest tightened painfully. "Evelyn," he breathed. She startled. "Your Grace." He stepped inside, shutting the door softly. "What have they done to you?" he whispered. She shook her head. "Nothing. This is simply your life." His jaw clenched. "And it should not be." "I do not deserve more," she blurted, repeating the lies she had been raised on. Alexander closed the distance between them. He lifted her chin gently. "Listen to me," he said, voice shaking with emotion he could no longer hide. "You deserve everything. Kindness. Respect. Freedom. Happiness. And I swear to you now." He took her trembling hands into his. "You are not plain." She swallowed. "You are not insignificant." Her eyes filled. "You are not nothing." A tear slipped down her cheek. He caught it with his thumb. "You are," he whispered, "the most extraordinary woman I have ever met." Her breath hitched. "And if you'll allow me," he breathed, "I would like to spend my life proving that to you." She stared at him, disbelief trembling across her lips. "Why?" she whispered. He gave her the softest, truest smile she had ever seen. "Because the moment I saw you," he said, "I knew I had found a woman I could not forget." Her heart broke. But this time, it broke open. Not apart. She stepped toward him. And for the first time in her life, she asked for something she wanted. "What happens now?" she breathed. He lifted her hand, kissed it tenderly. "Now," he said, "I take you away from here." Within a week, the engagement between Evelyn Ashdown and Alexander Hawthorne, Duke of Harland, became the only story the Ton cared about. Clara and Georgina were scandalized. Marietta was humiliated. Society was speechless. But Evelyn blossomed. Not because of the gowns, or the titles, or the jewels. But because someone, finally, treated her as if she mattered. And in his love, she found the courage to love herself. On the morning of their wedding, she looked at her reflection in a mirror framed with gold. The girl who stared back was still soft, still gentle, still quiet. But she was no longer small. No longer hidden. No longer nothing. Alexander entered the room, pausing at the sight of her. His expression softened. "Evelyn," he murmured, awe threading his voice, "you take my breath away." She smiled, without fear, without hesitation, without doubt. "Not because of how I look," she said softly. "No," he agreed, stepping forward to take her hands. "Because of who you are." The world had spent years telling her she was worthless. But the Duke, the most desired man in England, changed her life with a single truth spoken from the heart. "You are everything." And she believed him. At last.